Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I really like the way the Peter Dislike Show echoed throughout the office when I screamed it. Let's do it again. And please show your support for my art projects and pray for me by gesturing at your screen and leaving a dislike on this video. Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I did all of the Mondrian squares from 3 by 3 centimeters up to 10. I was a little bit surprised how it turned out. Usually the very small cuts are the hardest to do, by the way. It's very hard to measure it accurately enough, and it's even harder to get the glue on it without it spilling over. So I'll leave it as a trade secret how it gets done now. But I was upset at some things, and once again, I'm trying to make the best use of stress now. When I'm very upset and stressed out about something, and I get involved with my art projects, bang! That's when like big projects come out, right? You guys saw it at the beginning of this current melt-up situation with my bismuth of casting. I've taken a break away from that, and then I did a bunch of Mondrian squares. I did a bunch of anodizing. So my favorite metals right now are niobium and tantalum. They're in the same group of metals, by the way. And I love doing Seder square. I hope to eventually graduate to doing Mondrian art on some of these metals. What I'm thinking of doing is finding the right label to cover parts of the square up, anodize it, and then change the voltage to get something that looks like that. It's not as easy as it sounds, by the way, because you got to find the right adhesive that doesn't bleed, right? That the solution doesn't bleed into it. I have not yet found that just yet, and that's my dream eventually. You guys saw with the Lego art project, so I'm still taking guesses for the monument that I'm building. Take a guess at what it is. I hope to return to the bismuth casting soon. Part of the problem with the I took a break from the bismuth, both to explore other arts, and also I was seriously burning out from doing that. I was starting to get complacent and running into making mistakes and burning myself. I still have some marks on my arms and hands from mistakes. And so I wanted to clear that out of my system. When I first started working with bismuth over 2 years ago now, it was so fresh and exciting. And at the same time, I had a lot of respect for it. I didn't make so many mistakes and burn myself. I mean, I did explore, but I didn't run into safety issues like that. And so I wanted to clear that out of my system so that when I go back to making art again out of bismuth, that it could be like a start over again. But I'm not sure how long to take a break away from it because there was a time that I took a break for about a month, and I didn't get that fresh start that I was hoping for. And I chose 138.376 days for this current break, so we got another month and a half to go. My inspiration was that there was a time in my life when I was more or less disabled for a year. There were things I wanted to do. I mean, I was in school at the time. My schoolwork didn't suffer all that much, but there were sports issues that I wanted to get to. There were I used to love to do long distance walks. I wasn't able to do it during that time. And when I got back to it, it was like I started all over again. It was great. So I know a year is way longer than I need to take a break. I know it's more than a month. It's less than a year. And I chose 138.376 days because it's bismuth art. There's something that bismuth can be made into that time period is relevant to. Leave a comment if you know what it is. And hopefully I'll reset my mental focus when I get back to my bismuth casting. And so I need you guys to pray for me, though. Part of the reason I got upset this past week, actually 2 weeks now, I was negotiating contracts with the college for the spring semester. And first of all, there's a lot of BS training that we have to do over and over and over again. I can agree to doing it once, but they make 2 changes to the policy. We got to do it all over again. The sexual harassment, diversity training, and it's just annoying now. And okay, that if that wasn't bad enough, a lot of times in the fine print, in the contracts, they kind of reserve the right to cancel our contracts last minute. And if that's not frustrating enough, part of the reason I got burnt out this fall semester was that because I had bad experiences with contracts being canceled in the past, I ended up signing more contracts than I really wanted to, and I ended up getting all of them, right? And so it's a little bit more than I want to do. I'm not able to give all of my classes 110% anymore. And also my dating life is kind of suffering as a result of that. And so as I was negotiating with my dean, I expressed to my dean that, I really wanted to give 110% this semester. But the reason I took not only this class, but 2 other classes at Rio Salado is because I understand that things have a tendency to change, right? Is there anything we can do about this, right? Now, I know students dropping, he can't control that. I know that. What I was hoping he might be able to do is offer some sort of backup if that happens, right? So that I don't have to end up taking more work than I want to or that I'm comfortable with, right? And I even couched it. I could give the students so much more. You see my, because we have student evaluations. Take a look at my midterm evaluations. I got a 4.4 out of 5, right? But I really feel I could have given the students a lot more if it weren't for this issue that we have, right? And so he couldn't come up with any solution to that other than just go ahead and sign the Rio Salado contract too, right? And I was just frustrated out of my mind because I like to have a life too, right? And and so I took out my frustrations on my art project, as you guys saw, right? I don't know. Feel free to leave. And if you guys have any suggestions on what else I could say to the dean the next time we talk, right? Because obviously this is a every semester negotiation issue. Maybe next semester I'll try other words of wisdom. Feel free to leave a comment. I welcome suggestions, obviously. And but you know what? It propelled me to to give you an idea how burnt out I am. I'm recording this on Monday afternoon. A lot of times my weekends completely disappear before they even come because I'm in so much sleep debt and debt with other stuff, right? My laundry piles up, house cleaning piles up, things I need to do right now as I speak. I recently bought a bicycle, but I need to go get an inner tube to replace one of the tubes, and that stuff like that piles up. And you get the idea, right? That the entire weekend is pretty much spoken for before it comes. And as a result, it feels like, gee, what happened to my weekend? It wasn't that long ago when I was worried about stuff at work on Friday, right? And it's Monday already. And I don't like that feeling. I really don't. And unfortunately, I couldn't find the right words to negotiate with the dean. I mean, he understood my frustration. He just didn't have a good solution to it, I suppose. It wasn't like he dismissed it altogether. All right, the only thing I can think of is I kind of promised myself. I signed all of the contracts, but I promised myself if I get all of them during the spring, I'll do 2 things. Number one, I'll treat them with as much respect as they treat me with, right? So if there's something I want to do and I need to call off for a day, I'm calling off, right? And second, I might think about taking some time off during the summer, right? A short sabbatical, if you will, right? The one thing I could have negotiated with the dean is that, perhaps we can agree that because of this wonky scheduling, if I do take the summer off, can we make it so that you can report that I work continuously? Because there's just so much unpredictability, right? I could have, in retrospect, that's one thing I could have negotiated for. Maybe I'll give it another go if we meet up if my dean and I meet during the winter break again to talk about the spring semester, right? All right. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.